Hello, everyone. Welcome to Going 19, episode 45. Today, we continue our discussion on The Wastelands, the third book from the Dark Towers series, covering parts 1 and 2. This is the second part of 2 parts. I am Ed. With me are Allie and Amber. Let's start the show.
Um, all right, so we're on Jake. Um, Jake also is kind of lost, kind of alone, right? He doesn't seem to have many friends either. He's like a lonely.
There was a part of me like I obviously want Eddie and Jake and sure Susanna in this world with us, but
Hey, man, no judgment.
he Stephen King makes it a little too easy for us to just be like, yeah, get out of your life and come with this stranger into this world you don't know. Like it's just come on.
That's a skill, though.
I mean, it is, but I can't help but notice it and be like, yeah, I don't know. It's a book, so
It's
seems convenient.
like Eddie and Jake. I wanted them to go
Of
go
course.
with him, and if Jake's not there yet, but feels like that's coming. Susanna, or I don't know, Odetta, like when we're getting Jake's, like I guess we get Eddie's run up to Roland showing up, and what happens after that? We get, I guess we're doing Jake's run up now. Um, when we did Susanna's, it was like, oh God, do we have to deal with her?
Well,
Eddie's sympathetic, Jake's sympathetic. I felt bad for them. Susanna, I was like, oh my God, like I hate, like almost from page one when she turned into Susanna. Like I liked Odetta. No, I like Detta as a personality, as an antagonist, but there's no way they could have continued with her.
I mean, you bring up a good point because we don't I don't know exactly what it is. It's not like bad things haven't happened to her, but I don't feel sorry for her like I do for the other two. So that's King's fault entirely.
Well, and that kind of goes back to he doesn't know how to write women, especially when he gives her a split personality of because I liked Detta, not Detta. I liked Odetta. Detta was a screaming bitch, and literally, and because you get more of Detta than you do Odetta, it doesn't humanize her.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Odetta was kind of useless.
I like that she's very compassionate and understanding and intelligent.
Yeah.
I like Susanna this time a lot more than I remembered liking her before. So I'm like, okay, I'm giving it another shot. Like, here we go. But already, like we've said, I don't feel anything nearly for her like I do for Eddie and Jake.
Yeah. And I mean, I like her. I don't have any dislike for her, and I'm sure from what you two say that might change, but
don't let us change your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if you get the same vibe that we get.
Yeah. I don't know. I just she's a survivor. She is doing what she needs to survive. And the one thing I don't know that I trust is her relationship with Eddie. But I don't know why that gives me weird vibes. It just does.
Oh, it was so fast.
Well, that's part of it. But
because dead is still in there somewhere. That's why you don't trust us. Who knows when he's going to wake up bound by like a cattle?
Yeah. I think I don't trust that she, like, if it ever came down to, which I know this is counterintuitive to anything we just read because she did save him from the bear because she shot the bear, but she did that on Roland's instructions. If it was left to her own devices, I don't know that she would have been able to or wanted to. Because I don't think she's there for Eddie. I think she's there for Roland.
Harsh. I don't. You may be right, but I don't think because she didn't want to. I think maybe she may not have been able to.
Yeah.
Because that was her first, like live test, and the damn thing was
Massive.
there wasn't much time to think or room for error.
Yeah.
So without Roland, she may have just froze.
Yeah, that's more what I see it as, but I guess we'll find out.
I like when he's talking about the distances. And he's like, I don't know. She's like, how far to the tower? Like 10,000 miles? He's like, I don't know. The distance keeps getting longer. He's like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's not a thing. I was like, well, and she's like, oh, well, she says, what does she say? Well, how in the hell are we ever going to get there with you, you two pushing me and all that? And he's like, well, the time may come, Susanna Dean, where we are traveling faster than you will. Well, that doesn't sound ominous. Although she doesn't really take the bait. But, yeah, how far is it to the tower? I never really tell. I mean, they really haven't gone that far yet, right? They kind of went down the beach and into the woods at the end of it, and here we are.
Well, okay, so that kind of confused me a little, though, because Roland has said, I've been searching for this tower for, an undetermined amount of time. And I thought he said he had found a portal before and followed it. But I'm like, okay, if you did, then why wouldn't you have reached the tower? Because you ended up on the other side, because you ended up on the beach. Unless he has to cross an ocean to get to the tower.
I thought he went from Gilead and fleeing John Farson, and he just kept walking after Walter till we got here.
For some reason, I thought Walter was near a portal or at a portal or something, and they were both following the beam without saying that they were following the beam. But I could be very wrong.
I don't think so. I'm looking at the map that I have, and Jesus. So you can say it's just a walk through town, up the beach, through the woods, but looking at the map, it is a long distance. Like Shardik's lair is way on the opposite side of the beach.
Okay.
I'll have to
So
send
they've done a little bit of traveling, huh? All right. Enough of that. On to Jake. I like Jake. Jake seems to be good at dying. So even I like Roland's split is, he's going insane because he remembers two versions of Jake, or well, because he remembers Jake at all when he shouldn't, I guess is a better way to put that. But for Jake, it's much more personal because he remembers dying. So he's got half his mind telling himself that you're dead. You died. What are you doing? And the other half's going, no, I'm not. I'm right here, stupid. What do you mean I'm dead?
And then to have that on repeat for who knows how long.
Yeah, like for Roland, it's almost like an outsider looking in issue. For Jake, it's happening to him. Or it happened, or didn't happen, or both. It happened and didn't happen to him.
And once again, we have the world's like bravest, strongest kid. So it's got to be the kids that have the hardest stuff.
Just Stephen King. So I'm just going to assume Jake's like 12 years old.
Yeah,
But
I think it says he's 11 or something.
the only age that exists in Stephen King land, except for
Georgie.
Georgie and Gage. Pretty sure Ellie's 12 though. Have you read Pet Cemetery, Ellie?
I have not read it, but I've seen the movie. Well,
What?
the original
You're
movie.
not allowed to do that. How are you going to complain about all the stuff they got wrong if you haven't read it?
I know.
All she has to do is watch the remake, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. These remakes these days are better graphics, but they fuck the stories all up.
Yeah, I have not seen the remake yet. I figure I'll read it first before I watch the remake.
Oh, no. The remake is its own story. You don't have to do that.
Oh, again?
Yeah.
No.
Not
Why are
Firestarter's
you doing
level.
that?
That's what I'm saying. They keep all these directors are like, well, we put our own spin on it. Well, nobody asked you to do that. Then don't call it Stephen King's Pet Cemetery. Call it somebody else's Pet Cemetery. I'm here for Stephen King's Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
That's what they tried with the Dark Tower, because in the movie, Eddie and Susanna aren't in it at all. It's just Jake and Roland.
Mm.
And then I think the director's like, well, this is a different level of the tower. Like, well, no, nobody wants to see that one. I want the goddamn Eddie and Susanna one. So that
Well,
movie was
you can't make the Dark Tower into one movie. That was the dumb part.
the Amazon thing was going to be like a launch movie and then into a TV show. I guess like Twin Peaks style. And then they're talking about an animated series. I think that's where the Dark Tower would be best as an animated.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Okay, you say animated, and I think like cartoon. Do you more like anime? Like manga?
Yeah, not like The Simpsons, but like Samurai Jack kind of thing, maybe.
Oh, like yeah, Gendy Tartakovsky.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
did-
so more like anime when I say anime.
Less
He-
South Park, more like
Have you seen the new show Primal by Gendy? I can't remember. Gendy Tartakovsky, something like that.
I have not, no.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to look it up now though.
But I think it would be like the graphic novels,
Yeah.
if they looked like that. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of style.
That could be cool.
Yeah, I think it really would. But then Amazon killed it. I don't know why, because they would, went all in on Miss Maisel or something. I think somebody's working on it somewhere. I hope so. I want a good Dark Tower before I die. Okay, so anyway, you guys are very quiet on the whole subject.
On the what?
On the Dark Tower TV show subject.
Trying to move along.
No. Why? You got something to do?
No, but there's a lot to cover still.
There is, but we're on to Jake, so we're getting there. The Jake part is actually shorter than the Roland and Eddie and Susanna part.
When it goes more quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know why you said that the other part is, or Jake's part is a slower part, because I disagree.
I meant, well, yeah, reading it, for me, it was more of a, okay. I mean, I think part of it maybe just because I've read it and I know, like, this is all like world building kind of stuff. The way I saw it, it wasn't a lot of action until like it's building to that, but it's this part's all doing the building.
I get what you're saying. That's what I said in the beginning. Like, it's less action, but it's all, I don't know, it's much more exciting to me. Like, just the the build up and especially knowing what's coming and seeing all the little things, and I'm like, oh, like I just felt like I was smiling more and more and more as I was reading it. Like, I know it's coming up. Like, there it is. Like,
I don't mean that I didn't like it at all. I just mean that, I don't know, the pages turned a little slower, but I was totally like, maybe it was just so much on every page. It was just taking longer to get through it.
well, there's also like, I don't know how you could keep up with it. Like, I don't remember how I did it the first time because there's so much that he's throwing at you. Like, you can't. Like, I know I didn't notice a lot of this the first time.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Even the poem, which is awesome, and which
Yeah.
he thinks proves his insanity, and then it just proves his insanity again when they give him an A and they're recommending it for fucking whatever the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at it now, and I forgot the speaking demon. Like, all that's it's like a quick synopsis of the first two books.
Right. Well, that's
Or
why
at least
so
the
much
first
feels like it happens later on, because they cover so much from the first book over and over and over again.
Yeah. And you see the 141 where part 3 starts. There's a quote from Robert Browning in the book. I thought that was a little that's a connection if there ever was one. Allie, did we talk about the poem that this book came from? These books?
The child roll into the dark tower came.
Robert Browning wrote the poem.
Yeah.
So when a quote from him that says, "My first thought was he lied in every word," from Robert Browning. I don't. That's from something else that he wrote, but I thought that was funny that he's almost quoting himself in there. Well, we'll get. Yeah. But anyway, the poem's awesome. I agree with the teacher. I like the repetitive. That is. I think me and Amber say that all the time. And that is. Roland, let me die. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, Jake, this guy that you're running back to, like, you can't wait to see him again. Yeah, he killed you once.
Yeah, that part is kind of glossed over, but whatever. He's going insane, so.
Right. He's clearly got nothing to live for in New York City in 1977. I mean,
Yeah.
who can blame him?
And I
So now we get.
do get how problematic that is, but at the same time, I think he also remembered that Roland did show him some care, and that it sounds like that's more than his parents have done for him. It sounds like the only people who really care about him are his teachers and the housekeeper.
Right. And here we have another person who life. I mean, I guess it's very convenient, like you said, but it definitely makes it easier to steal them out of their lives. But again, Jake's basically ignored. His life kind of sucks. His parents are rich and successful, and that's almost worse because he never sees them and they ignore him.
Yeah.
Dad apparently has a coke habit because he mentions that coke in a drawer several random times. They're starting to get a little weird. I think I have no idea, but I think someone may have been indulging when they wrote this book.
I don't think it was. It was only mentioned like 3 times. I don't think it was that weird.
Oh.
I mean, if he is an addict, like, that would make sense.
Yeah, that's why all his later characters go to AA after he did. Like Danny Torrance, when he grows up, he's in AA, or he just got out of AA.
I mean, yeah, but also look at his life.
Who, Danny's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be drinking too. I'm sure. I don't know that I'd have went to AA. I'd have just kept on drinking. Talk about I see dead people. My God. So then we have the second half of the poem, and that's where the train references start coming in. And this is before he goes. This is before he buys Charlie the Choo Choo. So I guess that's what all the choo choo shit is. We're talking about.
Well, technically, so in Eddie's dream, I wrote this down. Jack Andolini says, there are other worlds than this, and that train rolls through every one if you can get it started. And if you do get it started, your troubles are only beginning because this device is a real bastard to shut down.
Well, we can talk about the first half of that. The train goes through all
Well, I'm not, all I'm saying is that was at least when the train was brought up, because that was before. That was page 80.
Okay. What worlds does it go through?
Right?
Oh.
Shouldn't Jake know?
Well,
Allie, what were you going to say?
You said, where does this train go and what worlds does it go to? And I'm like, all of them, apparently.
Oh, all of them.
yeah, but getting off at your stop sounds like might be a bastard. What did he say? It's impossible or hard to stop.
If you can get it started, and if you do get it started, your troubles are only beginning because this device is a real bastard to shut down. So, I mean,
so there's a train coming.
You might want to slow down.
Right? How about you just walk down?
We'll have to come back to that one.
Yeah, I mean that's where this is heading, right? Because
I meant
we
next
keep talking about trains, and Jake buys a book about a train. Well, this is all Jake, so Jake's gonna encounter a train, I guess, here at some point, and it may or may not be named Charlie.
I mean, maybe, but Eddie's the one who dreams and talks to Jack Andolini about it, so I don't necessarily know that it's just Jake.
Well, and Roland says too that at some point they'll be moving faster than they maybe want to, and that also seems like train talk.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I thought he was just talking about the land getting all bendy and wormholey.
But okay.
Well, I'm just gonna not say anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll have to come back to this next time. But the second half of Jake's poem, kind of, is a huge clue. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a big foreshadow. So we can just, like all foreshadowing he does every 4 pages. Just read it and file it, and then when it comes up, and go, aha, that's what he was talking about. So Jake then, I guess, just wakes up and decides. Oh no! No! He starts seeing. That's actually the funny part. He starts thinking that Roland's behind like every door he ever sees. Like Jake starts getting fascinated by doors, even though he had nothing to do with the doors that we've seen up to this point.
Well, he wasn't able to go through one, but he definitely had something to do with the last one.
Why? What do you mean?
Because
of Jack?
That's how the whole split started. But I understand your point, yeah.
Like, Jake didn't go through a door himself, but the last one was very much like...
Yeah.
He was a part of the last door, even though he didn't realize.
So yeah, he starts swearing he's going to see Roland behind every single door, and he at least 3 or 4 times he runs up to one, absolutely certain that Roland and a tumbleweed is going to be on the other side of the door. I think he says tumbleweed at some point. When he opens the door, and then it's never. He does it in the girls' bathroom, and she's like, "Hello."
I get a little confused at this part about like what is Jake's wishful thinking and what is actual like guidance, like someone guiding him, because even when he walks up to where he thinks, I think he thinks it's going to be the deli, or he thinks something, I don't know, he's like full of hope, and then immediately it starts to drain when it's not what he thought it was. And I'm like, wait, I thought something else was guiding you here though. So it's like, are you, is someone telling you what to do, or is this all your intuition? Like,
How did he end up at the deli? Did something guide him there?
yeah, there was like a voice talking to him.
Like hang a left here?
Well, not necessarily like that.
Well, what I thought he had the, I guess you could call it a vision for him, but it was what Eddie saw in his dream, but through his own eyes.
Of what?
How he ended up at the lot where the Tom and Jerry's was supposed to be.
I don't understand.
So it was like Eddie's dream kind of guiding him.
I don't get how.
Because he, like, at least that was my interpretation. So, because, Eddie had this dream where he was like, oh, I never wear these clothes, and oh, I see myself in mirrors and hear this song from the Rolling Stones playing, and like all the same things that Eddie saw in his dream, Jake saw. So because we had already read about the dream, that I took that as like guiding Jake.
How old is Eddie in 1977? 10 years, right? No, that's when he wrote it. What year did Eddie come through? Is it 87?
I don't. Well, Detta or
It
Susanna
was
was
in the 80s.
Yeah, I was gonna say Susanna was in the 60s, so it had to be the 80s.
Susanna's 63. Jake's 77. I think Eddie's the last one. So,
How
I mean, I
could
get what you're saying. Maybe
I thought Jake would wait? How could the deli have been there and not there before Eddie's time? Unless, well, I guess it was just a dream, so maybe it didn't exist in Eddie's actual time. I don't know.
well, it could have existed in his time. It would have just been younger.
No, because that's after 1977.
Do you know that that's when Jake's time is?
I'm not sure that
Yeah.
we do.
It is. I'm 98% sure.
So Jake was before Eddie,
Yeah.
but the deli is not there in Jake's time and there in Eddie's time, but there's remnants of it in Jake's time?
I think the dream came from the rose, at least partly.
Right. So maybe it's also not there in Eddie's time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think. Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that.
So, but looking at Jake, he was just walking, and he says he was walking in a daze, and he realized he was in the middle of the street, and let's see, he just starts getting hunches that he has to go somewhere.
Well, he starts at school, right? And he starts looking in the girls' bathroom and somewhere else, and then he just kind of walks away from school. No, that's the day before.
No, yeah, he runs out of school. He had gone truant. Jake walked blindly east along the gridwork of streets, head down, with no idea where he was going or what he would do. After walking for a while, he came out of a daze. He was standing in the middle of Lexington Avenue and 54th Street.
That's when he's on his way to die, and then he doesn't die.
No, that's afterward. Sorry, I skipped the dying part.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, maybe it's not.
I mean, Jake does that all the time.
Oh, no, yeah, this is afterward. Yeah, this is like 3 weeks afterward.
But maybe now he would live forever. That thought made him feel like screaming all over again.
Or no, oh yeah, because remember those 3 weeks repeat, so we don't know how much longer. Well, I guess he said that was 3 weeks ago. Whatever, that's not the point. Yeah, the 3 weeks between then and now stretched like a glittering bladed terrain.
Yeah.
So
what? How did he know he was going to die? And how did he remember something that didn't?
So So here, page 161. This is what I was talking about. He's standing in the middle of the street. A horn honks, which we can come back to that, but it seems like a very specific person driving the horn of that car. Or no, that was the car. Sorry,
Wait.
I know I'm jumping all over the place, but the car that was that killed him the first time, I forgot to mention that.
An old man.
The old man and the very, what was it? Fat man in a big blue Cadillac with a blue hat and a feather in it.
Would that be a low man? Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Anyway, enough of that.
Page 161. He gets honked at, and then Jake didn't. The sensation of knowing was creeping over him and through him, and it was as if white. This was the word that came to him. Like, he just starts having these thoughts, which, you know.
Yeah, I think they're being sent to him. I'm not sure if it's Eddie or maybe it's their Tet reaching out to him. Combined energy. I think the Rose is now. Well, the Rose is talking to him apparently. So.
Oh, maybe it is the Rose.
So the Rose might have been drawing him there. I mean, maybe that's how it protects itself. It brings people to stand around it when it's
Yeah, because
trouble.
he just keeps saying he needed to walk down 2nd Avenue. That was unquestionably correct. So it's like now this is guiding him. Like
There is no 2nd or 46th in New York City, by the way. Don't look for it. Yeah. So I think he just started and he kept doing that. Suddenly he was sure behind that door was Roland and Jake and several times he's like, suddenly he was sure. Oh, there, the way station and all the rest of that strange other world was behind that door. All he had to do was push through and rejoin the Jake that already existed there. But it wasn't, and that's how he ended up at the Rose because that's where the deli was, and he was coming around the corner, and he, for whatever reason, couldn't see the lot till he got right up on it. But he was running the last block or two, expecting the deli to be there, and he's going to burst through the deli door and be in Roland's world. It said there was no deli and a fence and rose that may or may not have been growing out of a purple bush.
So I'm sorry. This is what I was talking about. Page 174. Just another false alarm. Oh no, sorry. The feeling which was replacing the absolute certainty was. I'm sorry. He could feel his hope, his absolute certainty draining out of him. The feeling which was replacing it was the deepest, bitterest despair he had ever known. So it's like, how could someone, maybe, I don't know. I think I'm just reading too much into that because I'm like, but you know you were led there, so just keep going. Like,
it doesn't mean you can control your emotions. and you know this. They call it, he's following a trail, a kind of force beam. So, I mean, just as simple as that. He's on the path of the beam.
You know, that's a good point too. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
He doesn't know it, but he's following the beam. Right? I'm following the beam here. Just leave me alone. And then he goes into another place with a fucking awesome name. The what is it? The Manhattan Restaurant of the Mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where Aaron and Calvin Tower are. I like how even Jake's like, of course his last name was Tower. So Jake's eyes widened. What? Good handle. Yeah. These two are. Well, we don't get a lot of Aaron just yet, so I guess be careful there. I didn't realize Calvin Tower was a fat guy. I always pictured him as a kind of a tall, lean guy or something. Maybe I thought maybe that's because his name was Tower. I pictured him; he looked like a tower. Um, Aaron Deepno is reading The Plague. I don't know that book. I didn't bother to look it up because I don't see me reading it anytime soon. And he mentioned several times. He calls Charlie the Choo-Choo an unusually or a fairly common book. Yeah, well, maybe in your world, not in mine. I like how they're like, Jake's like, oh yeah, I'm done with school for today. They're like, yeah, sure, yeah. So what are you really doing? And he's, oh, there's some place I have to be, and he doesn't even know where that is. And they're like, as long as it's not back to school, no, not school. That way lies madness. And he's half joking and he's half not because he's, he had to leave school because he was going out of his mind. That's why he walked out of there in the first place.
Well, not only that, but he's walking to the rose, which calms him down, like makes him sane.
And that's, yeah, so the voices start calming down. I guess the closer he gets to the rose is the way that's working.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finds the key in the lot just laying there, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's seeing the key that he sees the rose after that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the same lot. That's what I mean. The fenced off 2nd and 46 lot with like broken bottles and nails everywhere and some magical rose growing out of it. It's the center of. Do we know what the rose is at this point?
Nope.
Do you know? And what do you know about the rose, Ellie? Anything?
That it's not really a rose.
Yeah, well, that might be my fault. Okay.
Seems like maybe a portal.
It seems very fragile to me. I don't like it. It makes me feel oogie when I think about it too much. And like I said earlier, of course, Jake buys the riddle book without any answers. I feel like that might be important for some reason.
Technically, that one was free, so.
Right. So, I don't understand the Samson riddle. Do you guys get that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good, but yeah, I get it.
Out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. Okay, so out of the lion came. Wait, so Samson's on the lion's back? I don't.
Oh my God.
And then the bees made honey out of his head. I don't get it. 168, 169. Like even when they tell him the answer, it makes no goddamn sense to me.
I mean, I feel like there's I don't know. I get like two things when I look at it. Either, like you said, so the lion, I guess, would be both the eater and the strong in the first interpretation, because you get meat and now, you fill the head with honey. Or you could say like the eater is the lion, the strong is the guy who killed him, so you get meat from the lion and sweetness from the strong. I don't know.
Not much of a riddle.
It doesn't seem very good, but
yeah, I'm not going to the Bible for any more riddles. That's do you know? I knew this one instantly, but do you know it? What can run but never walk, has a mouth but never talk, head but never sleeps, head but never weeps?
No.
Are you asking if I know what the answer is, or if I've heard it before?
Do you know the answer to
that? No, I could not quite figure that out.
No. I guess we'll wait for it. They haven't given it up yet, right?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's actually one that I knew, but I've heard it before. I don't know how you know any of these if you haven't heard them before. I got to tell you. Well, there's only been two of them. Getting hard to talk. Maybe things keep relating to things that haven't happened yet. I guess I'm just not good at riddles, and I guess I never was or will be. But whenever I don't see any way to analyze like the Samson one and figure out what they're talking about without knowing what they're talking about. And the other one, the bed but never sleeps, the head but never weeps, is kind of the same way. But I mean, you could potentially at least figure that one out. That at least is a riddle that has clues in it. That if you figure out how to interpret the clues, you'll know the answer. First one, I got nothing on that. So the Bible's not my source of riddles anyway. So when he hears the Rolling Stones, that's the same thing Eddie heard. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, that was so the entire sequence of
So it's Eddie
Jake
Jake and
going
Eddie's
down the
dream.
street was Eddie's dream.
In Eddie's dream, is he Jake?
I don't think so.
He can't be because it's not alive in Jake's time.
Right.
Or there.
But I mean, it's a dream. He's seen himself, but I think it's really Jake that he's seen, and he just isn't
But
realizing.
Jake can't see the deli either. The only one who can see it is Susanna. In real life, I mean.
Right. Wait, we're back to that.
Oh wait, no, I forgot. We said Eddie happened. I still keep thinking Jake is the last one.
No, Jake's the 70s, Eddie's the 80s.
Yeah.
Susanna's 63. Eddie's the only one I can remember the exact date.
Well, Eddie or Susanna. We don't know if it was there in her time or not.
Well, I guess that's true. I don't. I just kind of assumed it was. Well, maybe yeah. Maybe that dream's really old. So I think I know the answer to this, but in it, when we hear the turtle poem with the on a shell he holds the earth, it doesn't say the beam part, does it? It says something else, right?
I don't know.
See the turtle of enormous girth on his shell he holds the earth. If you want to run and play, come along the beam today.
I want to say no, but I don't know.
I feel like that sounds different. I don't know. How do we explain Maturin being dead and alive? See, he's having the same problem as Jake and Roland, because in it, Maturin dies, and now here he is alive again.
Well, to be fair, we see a carcass of a giant turtle. That doesn't necessarily mean Maturin died. Like, that's what I'm saying. It could have just been a trick.
Could have just been sleeping, wasn't he? Sleeping for I think we know he's dead because Pennywise assumes he's dead. Doesn't actually know that, or he's just trying to be sneaky.
I think Bill sees it. It's like I have an image of that.
Yeah, I mean, Bill tries to battle with Pennywise again, and he gets flung off the tongue, and he flies past the turtle, and he's like, "Oh my god, it's dead!" He starts freaking out.
Yeah.
Interesting that he went back to the turtle.
But that's what I'm saying. That doesn't necessarily mean that's Maturin, whatever.
Is that a real thing? Like, is there a Maturin in Greek mythology, or did he just make that whole thing up?
I don't even try to look things up anymore because sometimes they are and sometimes they're not.
Usually it's a little bit of
It's
everything.
an actual legend, though. Like that the Earth is really like a giant turtle with the land on its back.
Kind of like Anne Rule with the Atlas.
Mhm.
Okay, so Jake gets to the lot. Well, he runs expecting the deli to be there. It's not. So he climbs the fence. Almost breaks his ankle, I think. Finds a key, and that's really what stops the voices, right? When he holds the key, he doesn't hear the voices.
Yeah.
So what is that key? What the fuck? That was just a random key that was laying in the lot, right? What does that have to do with it? So I'm going ahead and guess that that key is the same. I don't think I have to guess. I think it says it. It's the same key that Eddie's trying to make
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he says the same thing. The little S shape at the end. That's the secret. 3 inverted V's. So I guess we need a key for something. Although I'm not sure what. Well, Jake needs a key just to still the voices and be seen for a little while, right?
Well,
Grass was purple.
he keeps looking for doors. I feel like the key has something to do with a door.
Wow, that would make sense. Or maybe Jake does have his own door. Where's it go? Does Roland have just like the doors on the beach? Does Roland have to go like into Jake?
Maybe.
Jake would like that.
Maybe the door leads onto a train where he will run into Roland.
Right? Maybe a train driven by Engineer Bob. Just a
There's Charlie.
silly questions. I won't tell you silly lies. The rose. So there was purple grass and faces in the purple. That image is creepy. To say the least.
Yeah, I didn't remember the faces from before.
Yeah, if I look down at the grass and those faces looking up at me, I think I just have to go somewhere else. You can have your key. Like I'm already going insane. I don't need this on top of it. Although I will be taking the key because everyone is quiet at the moment. I think the faces were like screaming or something. Or no, I guess that would be unbearable.
Yeah, I mean, so far everything seems like harmonious, and warm and good.
Yeah, almost like they're singing together. Isn't there? Because there's like an undercurrent of something that he hears, and he kind of realizes like a hum. I think he says something like
yeah.
that. And look, he's like the rose. What if somebody comes in here and picks it? Like, yes. What if somebody just? What if some bum gets drunk and sleeps in the lot and tramples it on the way out? That is not danger. It can protect itself from such things as those. And then there's like a sense of deep relief swept through Jake. Well, I'm glad that convinced him. It didn't convince me. Now they got Jake. So Jake's walking away from the lot going, see the turtle with enormous girth. What a day. What a day.
Yeah, like he's talking out loud to the rose. Like, you're very beautiful. Are you sick, Rose?
Yeah, I like that. Are you sick, Rose? Rose is like, I have a name. Did I call you human? Yeah, and then he goes home and he's a total asshole to his parents.
I mean, they deserve it. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did his mom deserve it? I guess. His dad.
Yeah, her son is missing, and she just like, I mean, I don't know, whatever. I'm not gonna assume, but they're not. They don't seem like great parents.
They're
No.
well, yeah, they're not. I think Greta's the best parent he ever had.
And even he can admit that she's a parent by hire.
Yeah, yeah, like when they asked her, yeah, when he comes back, she's like, "Oh yeah, it's because they sent her up there to talk."
Hmm.
He's like, "Did my parents send you?" She's like, "Yep." So they're like,
And
not beating
he's
around the bush. You gonna tell me or not? Either way, I don't care.
well, yeah, he said that that's basically what her face said, and he's like, "I'm not offended by it. I get it. It's still nice that somebody cares enough in that way, at least." Like,
Hey, at least he knows where she stands, right?
yeah.
There's no ambiguity with her, unlike unlike his parents, who well, they are riddles of ambiguity. Um, so he's home and he's still thinking about the rose. And how does it end? I don't remember. Oh yeah, all his teachers right. So his teachers like him, but oh look, and I like this. First of all his teachers call him John, and that confuses me because I'm like, who the hell is John?
Well, Greta called him Johnny too.
Yeah, that was even worse. Johnny, it's like John, I can live with. I can get Jake from John. I don't know if I can get Jake from Johnny. Um, what teacher is it? One of them even references the Robert Browning poem. This
Yeah,
the English teacher. He's
like
like,
we get it.
yeah, it's drawn from your father and from Robert Browning's poem. This is not a question I would ask most students, but I know how omnivorously you read. Yes, of course. Of course, Jake and Eddie both read all the time.
What does that mean? Uh, How do you use omnivorously for reading?
I thought it was kind of weird myself, but I yeah, because so that makes me think of omnivore, which is a plant eater, and I don't
Well,
you
no, an
don't
omnivore is both, isn't it?
Yeah,
So I guess that's just somebody who reads everything.
I guess.
I guess that's
I
well
feel like the word he was probably looking for was voracious.
Yeah.
yeah, there's probably a weird synonym in there, but yeah, basically, I mean it works. It's I know how you read everything, so if you eat everything,
Right. But you don't like. There's no both sides to. Well, I guess whatever. There's no two sides to eating either. So.
I was so happy to see Charlie. I didn't know I was going to see him yet. Well, the actual book where he does a quick run through of
Yeah.
what the book is.
Yeah. I didn't realize, like I said, how much build up there is when it comes to trains.
Well, I remembered that he bought Charlie to Choo Choo, but I didn't remember how much that kind of consumed his thoughts.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like I had to buy these, and then like in my memory, it was okay. Now where's Roland? Like I did that part that I had to do, so what's the next thing I have to do? And then he thinks about the actual why later on. But he spends a lot of time thinking about trains and the whole you know Charlie the Choo Choo versus the what is it, the Zephyr? Uh, Sounded a lot like Paul Bunyan or John Henry.
Wait, what did you say?
Charlie the Choo Choo against the Zephyr, the new train.
Oh,
Burlington Zephyr.
right.
Sounds a lot like Paul Bunyan against the what was he fighting, the breaking rock machine. I can't think of what it was called, or Paul
Mhm.
Bunyan against the It was Paul Bunyan.
Is that the origin of Paul Bunyan? Because I don't know that story. So
Paul Bunyan was like they're both like fighting technology, man against machine
yeah.
fables.
Mhm.
Like I think John Henry beat the machine, but then he passed over. And, like they would have the contest whether they were better than the machine, and like John Henry won, but then he died. So I'm not sure what the lesson there was. But they were like fighting the future kind of stories with Charlie.
Yeah, which,
Kind
as
of
we
it.
know, the world has moved on, so there's no point in that.
Yeah, I get tired of that. It's like an excuse. But why did that? The world moved on. Oh, right. Yeah.
I feel like it's used as a catch-all for everything. It's like, why does time, like the land, stretch out here? And it's like, well, the world moved on. What do you expect? It's like, what?
Yeah, like that's not really a satisfying answer.
What's
And what does
Charlie?
that mean?
The Topeka to St. Louis line, right? I have
Yep.
that right. So that's Topeka's what? Kansas.
I think so.
It's going from Kansas to Missouri. It just seems kind of random. Uh, what's so special about Topeka to St. Louis?
It's the 40s. Who knows?
Is it the 40s? It was somewhere back then when people were taking trains everywhere, I guess.
Well, that's what Jake says is like something that like 40s kids probably loved when this came out or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I like I wonder, is there science to that? No, never mind. There's no science to it. I like their compass, where they just drop the needle in the cup and like wait for it. This is the beam tells the needle which way to point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda
Not that it
tricky.
matters anyway, because everything else also points to it.
Yeah, apparently everything that you see is pointing to it. You just don't realize it unless you stare at it hard enough. That smile. He didn't trust that smile a bit. All right, so where do we leave off? Jake goes to sleep. And,
Yeah.
unresolved. We don't really know anything, right?
Well, we know a lot, but we don't know everything.
Well, we don't know what's going on with Jake.
No.
We don't know what his next move
We know.
is. What's going to happen. He's still insane. He's just holding a key in his hand to keep the voices at bay. So he's very unresolved at the moment.
Hey, but the next part is called Door and Demon, so he might finally get his door.
Right? But I'm gonna guess maybe there's a demon in it. Is it our old friend? Does he make? Oh, he does.
Yeah, he's gone.
No, he's not. Do you remember this part? Anyway, we should not do that.
Yes, I remember this part. This is the. Never mind. Yeah.
Sorry, Allie.
We'll get there. I'll get there.
We're both kind of getting more excited with every page because it's getting up. This is the book where it kind of becomes what it's going to be for the next couple books. So everything's starting to fall into place. So, there's still a glaring omission, but we'll get there. Okay. I guess that's it. What do you think, Allie? Do you like it?
So far.
You'd be reading it if we weren't doing this?
Eventually, probably.
Still reading it, I guess. Would it have held your interest enough to keep going?
If I had started with Gunslinger, no.
That's interesting you said that, Amber, because, yes, Gunslinger sucks, but so far, the next two books have been nothing but references back to Gunslinger, every couple of pages.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to read Gunslinger first, because a lot of people say go back and read it later, but if you really want to understand it, you can't.
I
Go ahead, sorry.
I think I would have had to like hear really, really good reviews about like reading it in sequence to have pushed through by myself to this point, which I guess I kind of did get from you guys.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So,
You got the best review possible, and you got a bunch of warning and a bunch of foreshadowing that you probably forgot because you didn't understand.
I also think like it'll be a lot easier to judge it once you've finished as opposed to judging book by book.
yeah,
Well, I like to see both perspectives. That's why I'm asking.
yeah. Because I mean, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before on the podcast, but Amber, I remember like you reading it at work and you being like, I don't understand anything. Like, you got frustrated with it at a point, and I think that you're enjoying it more this round because you know the things and you can connect more dots, which makes it interesting.
That is probably very true. Like I'm sure. I think my like actual love didn't come in until about book 4 or 5. But it's just way. Yeah, I mean, I 100% love it even more this time, being able to pick up on so much more. Like it's definitely a series that's, in my opinion, better once you know what's happening a little bit.
Yeah.
You definitely have to read it more than once, but don't do it right away. You got to absorb for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think. What are you 2 years out, Amber? You waited like 2 years, I think.
About, yeah, because I finished I think the end of 2018 or the beginning of 2019. So maybe 3 years.
Yeah, it's just more enjoyable on the second one, I think. Like Amber's saying, like it's
Also,
I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you might want to look into getting the complete concordance. Like, I'm not even joking. It helps me so much. It's a giant like directory of all things Dark Tower related, so you can look it up by name or event or place or whatever word.
You got to read it once before you can pull that out.
I had it when I was reading it.
Doesn't mean you should have. Because they'll give
helpful.
away stuff. Like that happened to you several times, or you look something up, you're like, oh, oops.
This time or the first time?
I think the first.
Huh?
It was the first time.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember we're spoiling it, so it doesn't matter.
So, 2 Sundays do 3 and 4. I think it's up to 383. When it starts, yeah.
Should be able to do that, I think.
Less than we did this time. So
Yeah.
we're gonna cross over into Lud. Which, yeah, it's just getting crazier and crazier. Dorian Demon is going to be absolutely insane, and then we're going to go to Lud, which I don't even know how to talk about that yet. So, anybody got anything? Everybody good? Final thought?
I'm good.
2 hours. Let's get the hell out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. End of podcast. See you in 2 weeks. Everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.